Republicans voting against very qualified African-American women. We've won that debate. We've won it with the American people. And I was just standing, because I remember this. I remember literally hundreds of prominent people in the economics field and outside the economics field that supported Lisa Cook, that wrote letters. We got more letters, I believe, in support of Lisa Cook than any nominee for the Fed. And the ranking member knows he's voting for some pretty unqualified people, and that he would decide this is one he's voting against is just kind of sad. Let me give you some examples. 35 Marshall and Truman scholars are supporting her. 35, the National Bankers Association. Ben Bernanke, a Bush nominee who was chair of the Federal Reserve. All kinds of organizations, some political, some not political, many of them bank-based. I will send these to the ranking members so you can get a look at them. I know he's already seen them before, but they seem to have slipped his mind. I urge my colleagues to support Dr. Cook. She teaches at Michigan State, the presiding officer's proud institution. She would be an historic confirmation to the Board of Governors, we know that. She understands how economic policy affects all kinds of different people in different parts of the country, from the rural South where she grew up to the industrial Midwest where she built her career. One of the things I like about her, the Federal Reserve, I understand that economic conservatives in this body, and I think the ranking member would probably define himself that way. I admire his courage in voting for the removal of President Trump. So I admire his courage. I just think he's wrong on these kinds of nominees. But I look at her and I see how one of the things I like about her is the Fed for years has just practiced this top-down economic policy. The people that sit on the Fed, they almost all look like me historically. In fact, Lisa Cook would be the first black woman in 109 years ever to sit on the Fed, 7 members of the Fed at any one time. And the terms are, usually they stay 5 to 10 years, so you can see how many people cycle in out. But they almost all believe in this trickle-down economics. That you give tax cuts to rich people, and it'll trickle down the economy. Well, Lisa Cook's different. She doesn't come from the coast. She comes from what some people on the coast would call flyover country. Michigan or Ohio was the president. She grew up in a small town in Georgia. She went to college at Spelman, one of the best schools in the country. She was a Marshall and a Truman Scholar in England. She got her PhD at Berkeley, and now she's teaching at Michigan State. And that tells me she has a sense of this country. And he criticized her because of her emphasis on international relations. I like it that we have somebody at the Fed that not only knows the country, knows the great industrial Midwest in Michigan or Ohio, sort of the same in some ways. I like it that she studied the West Coast. I like it that she studied abroad. I like it that she spent time overseas learning about banking and economics in other countries instead of the cookie cutter people we always get in the Federal Reserve. Some very important, speaks very seriously, has a good Ivy League education, but they don't know real people. And Lisa Cook knows real people. She has years of research and international experience in monetary policy, banking, financial crisis. She served as an economist under administrations of both parties. As I said, she has support from across the political spectrum. All kinds of people endorsed her. They said more letters supporting her than any Fed nom that I remember in front of this banking committee. I've been on the banking committee a decade and a half. She's demonstrated her commitment to Fed independence, the importance of making decisions based on fact. She agrees with Chair Powell that the Fed's most important task right now is to tackle inflation. She believes, quote, a strong and resilient financial system supports American families, businesses, and our economy. Those are her words. Take a moment again. Let me go back to why this is historical. First black woman in 109 years to serve in the Federal Reserve. Think about that. Think about the first black woman in 109 years. This country is 12% black. We have had dozens and dozens and dozens of Fed noms, yet we're going to probably need the vice president to come in here and cast the tie-breaking vote, because every single Republican, everybody on this side out, sitting behind every one of these desks, is voting against the first African-American woman ever in the Federal Reserve. A qualified Spelman College, Truman Scholar, Marshall Scholar, PhD at Berkeley, tenure at one of America's great universities, Michigan State University, and they say she's not qualified, and Judy Shelton was? Really. She'll protect the Fed's independence. She knows workers drive our economic growth. She, like this president, understands you focus on workers and where you put workers at the center of our economy. That's the kind of Fed governor she's going to be. She understands when everyone participates in our economy, it grows faster and stronger for all Americans. Mr. President, we need her job. We need her on the job today. I would add the other senator from Michigan is here who's been a strong supporter of Professor Cooks. I join my two colleagues from Michigan and everybody on this side of the aisle to support Lisa Cook for the Federal Reserve.